Hey guys, it's Brit, and I am going to talk to you guys about It by Stephen King. I have finished hashtag Ittober early, um, and so this video will contain spoilers. Uh, what's today? The 20th. So if you have not finished it, or just you've never read it before, be aware that I can't control what comes out of my mouth, and you will probably get spoiled. I really enjoyed it. I really like Stephen King's writing. I know that is controversial to some, but I don't read critically. I don't care if somebody is technically good or bad at their job. If I like the story, I like the story. That's how I go about these things. And I really like Stephen King as one, a person, and two, as a writer. His writing just works for me. I like it. So, yeah. It takes place in the fictional town of Derry, Maine, as Stephen King is so famously known for all, if not most, if not all of his stories take place in some sort of Maine area, because that's where Stephen King is from. And I don't know, I just really liked it a lot. Even some of the creepier elements I felt. Though I will say one thing, and I'll probably hear about this from Devin later. So Devin, if you're watching, hi, just shoot me a message on Voxer or comment. Either way, I don't care. But I do think that it is a supernaturally elements-ish book. I don't think it should really fall into the horror category, if that makes sense, because the story is not focused on the horror-ish elements. Even though everybody basically knows who Pennywise is, Pennywise the clown, or it, whatever you want to call this otherworldly being. It's more about the group. The Stan, Mike, Bill, Beverly, Ben, Bill, all being friends and working to defeat this supernatural being that has consumed their town for the past, since its inception. So I wouldn't count it as horror, but that's just my opinion, and I could be completely wrong on that. I'm sure Devin will correct me later at some point. But yeah, I've been sitting on this, and I think my favorite character out of the whole group was probably Ben, um, or Eddie. Um, I liked Ben because he was just really shy, more or less. And I'm also a pretty shy person, so I connected with Ben in that way. And Eddie was just Eddie. Richie, while funny, and I'm usually drawn to funny characters, he wasn't my favorite. At times, he got on my nerves quite a bit, but that's just how the cookie crumbles in this type of situation. I think that I was going to say I thought that it could be shorter, but in this case, I don't think that it could be shorter, and the length that it is perfect. If you like chunky books, because this is over like 1,000 pages, you will love it. And King has just a knack for making everything connect together. I know he's not really all that edited anymore, and maybe he's gotten more rambly over the years. I don't know, because my experiences with King thus far have been very, very limited. So I can't really tell you if I like his other works or not. But Mr. Mercedes, I felt really needed everything in that work as well. Let's talk about Pennywise. Everybody knows Pennywise is a clown. He's kind of like the poster child of it. I'm sure if you haven't seen the miniseries, you can at least catch the references to the miniseries. Um, I know I did after reading this book. And though Pennywise is the main villain, he's not the focal point of the story, really. But I see why this work is called It. Because it is what brings everybody together. This book has a really interesting format where it flips back and forth between Derry in the late 80s to a later point in time where the kids that we have been following have grown up and become adults, and it's kind of like a reunion in a way where you go to your high school reunion and you see all of these friends that you were close with in high school, but you're not really close with them anymore. Maybe you guys send each other Christmas cards every few years or so, but you don't really talk. I know after I finished it, I actually went on my Facebook and I actually messaged a few of my friends who I haven't talked to in a while, um, because that's just the feeling that the ending gave me, that friendships are not always eternal, and people go and live their separate lives and they kind of just forget um, a lot. I believe that I have two or three very special exceptions. My two best friends from high school, who I are still my two best friends today, Katie and Ryan. I talk about them sometimes. They're they're my rock. I love them. I can't imagine my life without them. Um, but there were a lot of other people in my life throughout high school who I could also never picture my life without, and now I hardly speak with them at all. So, uh, yeah, friendships they come and go, and that's just a part of life, and it it happens, and that's really what it is about. You can come and you can get together every few years, but eventually you're gonna have to say goodbye, and those details are gonna slip. And that's okay. It's gonna be okay if you can't remember that your friend had chronic migraines or asthma, or if one of your friends was overweight and in when he was younger or not, or those basic things. That's really the core of what it is about. And even though Pennywise was the thing that brought them all together and forced them to have this connection and this reunion with one another, um, it's not really about it, but Pennywise, it, whatever you want to call it, deserves to be the title, because without it there wouldn't be the second half of the story, or whatever. Like I said, it comes and it goes between the lives of these kids and their adult lives and how they connect. One thing that I can't really comment on in at length, because I skipped all those parts, because if they shook Devin up slightly, I knew I was going to be shaken up by them, and he said, "You will want to skip this." I hate Tom. Um, Tom is the scum of the earth, and he was the scariest thing in this book for me. Even though I skimmed a good chunk of his stuff, um, even though I skipped a lot of Tom's stuff for personal reasons, I Devin filled me in enough to let me know at length what the art, like, what how bad he really was, and he was way scarier to me than Pennywise. Mostly because there are Toms out there. Tom and is not this supernatural, otherworldly being that can change into somebody's worst fears. He's human, and it makes it makes Tom the most terrifying thing for me, because um because he's a scumbag. He beats his wife. He beats his wife's friend so badly that she has to go to the hospital. And yeah, I think the true villain in this story is Tom, and he's barely mentioned. But yeah, this video is getting kind of long, so maybe I'll put up a part 2 on my other thoughts later, but I'm going to cut it off for now. And until next time, guys, I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.